Hey, welcome back to SV Ramble On. In our last video, we installed dual primary ray core filters between the fuel tank and the engine. Today, I'm going to be changing the engine-mounted secondary fuel filter, and that one is mounted on the block and is immediately after the manual lift pump, or the mechanical lift pump, rather. I got a Perkins. This one's a 26561117. Comes with the O-rings and the can. There's no real easy way to do it. The engine oil and transmission oil cooler is directly under the fuel filter. Most people don't ever change it, so we'll take it out, see what it looks like, and see just how dirty it is. So this is the block-mounted primary fuel filter. This is the mechanical lift pump. This is the bypass fitting. I've already got the fuel return line disconnected from the filter housing. The top here is the bleeder screw. And this is what you're supposed to loosen in order to bleed the filter. This is an interesting setup here because I can't get to the bolt that holds this canister in place without removing this banjo fitting here. This thing comes away from the housing, and then this bottom cup also comes away. So this banjo fitting pops up, comes out of the way. Loosen this bolt. There it goes. Okay, that looks like the filter's empty now. There it is. Just barely fits. A lot of crud stuck inside here. It's pretty grimy. Definitely time for a change. The new filter comes with 3 O-rings. A small one, a large outer ring, and a smaller lower ring. The smaller ring goes on the bottom of the canister. One of them's on this little stem, that's that little O-ring, and then there's the big O-ring that goes between the canister and the housing. Dude, that is a tight little O-ring. Got it. Broke it in half. I'll go around here with a Q-tip. This is the little O-ring. Dip this thing in a little diesel, and then roll it into place. Okay, that one went on pretty easy. And then this one. Okay, it feels like it's been... Oops. What I'm going to do is use the canister. Feels like it's seated up in there good. And then the bottom O-ring. Feels like it's where it's supposed to be. This bolt has a little washer, a little black rubber washer that seals in this cone on top of the housing. Alright, and that's that. And lastly is the banjo fitting. So there's no washer. I guess it's just a nice tight fit. Okay, so this is the return line back to the tank. So now that that's done, one more thing I want to do before I button this up and bleed the fuel lines once and for all is install a 12-volt electric assist pump. Basically a bleeding pump. It'll help bleed the system a lot quicker than using the manual thumb button on the mechanical lift pump. I think I'm going to put it right about there. That'll run the fuel line to the mechanical pump. I also got a little switch, on-off switch, that's going to go right above it here on a little mounting bracket. When I'm bleeding the system, I can use the lift pump and switch it on. Also, I guess if I get a mechanical pump failure, I can always use this as a backup. So this line right here is the fuel line to the lift pump. I just need a little bit of buffer to transition between rubber hose and hard hose. Alright, so that's it. So I got this self-adhesive pad right here, and it's just foam. Let's see, put it right there. Okay, on, off. That was cool. Alright, now to make the pump connection. So this comes from the pump switch. This goes to a fused terminal block. Stick in a fuse, snap on the cover. So before I make this last fuel connection, I want to test the pump, run a little into the diesel jug and make sure all the air's out. All right, we got fuel flowing. Yeah, I've read things about this type of pump, and they're pretty good for using it as a auxiliary pump or a bleeding pump. It's kind of a tight fit underneath the air intake manifold. Loosen the banjo fitting. Just give it a little bit. It's going to have to fill up the filter, and then it's probably going to come sputtering out the top. Okay, I hear air coming out, so it's pushing fuel into there. Okay, we got fuel coming. A couple of bubbles, but not much. All right, everything's back together. Air cleaner's on. The paper towel I had in here to keep from dropping anything down the intake manifold is out. Oil thing to the valve cover's hooked up. Fuel's hooked up. Turn the key, see what happens. Okay. Oh, found an air bubble. Now I gotta chase all the air out of the system manually. Well, that sucks. I was really hoping it would work. We're looking at the injector pump, and here's the governor box right here. There's a 5/16 bleeder valve, or a little bleeder screw right here. And then on the other side of the engine where the mechanical lift pump is, there's that manual button, and you work that manual button until no air comes out. It looks like there's diesel. So start there, bleed that. The second spot you bleed it at, and that's on top of the governor box, right back in here where you can barely, you can't even really see it. Push the primer. Little bubbles are coming out the back of the engine. Then it says there's one more spot. It's where the fuel line goes into the injection manifold. Okay, now we're on the top of the engine looking forward. And this is the #1 injector feed. All right, I didn't get anything out of I didn't loosen the injector nozzle on the #1 far enough to get any fuel. Let's turn the key and see what happens. Still not getting fuel. Let's check this filter again. Let's try this little one on top again. The one that's impossible to get to because of the fuel lines. There, oh yeah, did you see that? A lot of bubbles came out. Tons of bubbles. Double check that #1 injector fitting. Okay, those are the bleed points. Where else is there air in here, man? Alright, I'm gonna bleed this filter one more time. A little bit of bubbles coming out of the top. I bled pretty much everything. Let's try it. Good grief. So I ran this thing for like a half an hour and not a stutter. So I think I got it. Not too bad, not as bad as I was anticipating once I figured out that I still had air left in the fuel filter canister right at the beginning. So there was a little bit at the 2 bleed points. Nothing came out the #1 injector. Didn't have to loosen that up. A big thank you to Transatlantic Diesel for their website. They've got a little PDF you can download talking about bleeding the 4108. And also I found another one online called readyabout.net. And this guy, I forget what kind of boat he's got, but he's got a 4108 in his boat. And he had some pretty decent pictures. First time I changed the fuel filter, it's actually not as intimidating as I thought. If you found something useful, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Feel free to leave a comment. We'll put some links down below. I got the fuel filter on Amazon. It's a Perkins part. I'll give you the Transatlantic Diesel link. I'll give you the readyabout.net link. Thanks again for watching. Hit us on Instagram at sv_rambleon. Also, check out our website, svrambleon.com. And you can also email me through our website as well if you got any specific questions or want a more detailed response than YouTube comments. Thanks for watching.